Joining me now on the phone, the head coach for the Oneonta Redskins, Phillips. And Phil, your first year is complete. You guys make it to the semifinals, and you fall short a little bit to a really good Deshler team who went down to UMS Wright and fell to UMS Wright pretty handily in that game. But, expectations were probably make the playoffs, and that'd probably be about it from the community. But, you guys continue to move on each round, and you make it to the fourth round. What an amazing season it was for Oneonta.
Well, it was an outstanding year, and I'm so excited for this group of kids that we were able to, because I tried to sell them on the idea, guys. This little bump in the road that we've hit here is we're going to fix it, and I just didn't know that if we would fix it in time for this senior group to enjoy the kind of any success that I think they deserve, and we were able to. And so the thing that stands out to me the most is that we were able to get it turned around quick enough and back kicking in the right direction. So, we have some seniors who played 4 years and 3 years and maybe just didn't have a good taste in their mouth. And, I was just tickled that they were enjoying some success and in their football career on a good note.
I want to briefly talk about that Deshler game. And, we go up there and it's pouring down rain. The field may not have been the best of conditions. But first play of the game, Deshler, a 60-yard touchdown bomb to Hayden Stutz, the receiver. And, from that point on, it was just like you're always trying to fight from behind. I know you got it within a touchdown and had a chance to possibly tie, but things just didn't go Oneonta's way that night. But it was a good showing, though. They continued to fight. But what were your thoughts on that game?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head. They big played us on the first play, and they had two really, really big plays later on that, and it's hard when you give a team three huge plays like that eats up nearly 200 yards in 3 plays, that it's hard to overcome that. And you're right, we felt like we were, clawing and scratching from behind. The conditions did kind of neutralize a little bit of what we were wanting to do offensively. We had so much motion and adjustments and movements, and planned on throwing it about 30 times a game, which we ended up throwing it 35, 40 times, but mainly because we were behind. But we were going to, and those conditions kind of neutralized your releases. You're a little slow in your route, your timing's off, and Tavares is, his quickness is such a big part of his game, and a lot of times in his reads, as he was restarting, his footing was bad. So, but it is what it is. They were playing on the same field we were, and but I think when you feel like you're clawing and scratching from behind to get back in the game, and then you do some positive things, and then a big play gets you. It's just one of those things. They played well, and they had more to do with them winning than any mistakes on our part. I felt like we competed all night. We played hard, and I think that night the best team won, and but I think the experience you gain, especially those young kids, practicing an extra month and playing in games that competition is that level, that it's just going to do nothing but spring us forward, I hope.
This morning, WCRL in the Blount County, and of course it's in the paper, came out with their all-county team and some other big special awards, and we'll break it down one by one. But leading off, the Coach Hugh O'Shields Award for Coach of the Year, which was voted on by the other coaches here in the county. Everyone voted. It's you, Phil Phillips, in your first year as head coach. What is that award? Of course, Coach O'Shields being from Oneonta and coaching here. What does winning that award mean to you?
Well, first and foremost, it coming from the coaches, and it means a great deal to any coach, and to be recognized by your peers, and the quality of coaches that we have in this county. We had a very good year by several teams, and so that in itself makes it quite an honor. But to get anything with Coach O'Shea's name attached to it means a great deal to me. I played all but my last year for Coach O'Shea's, and so that and him being from Oneonta, the time he spent here, that makes it even more special. So it's a big honor, and really it's just a culmination of efforts of all of our kids and our coaches, and so. But yeah, it's an honor to receive that.
You know, one of the other big awards is the Patterson Player of the Year, and you know there were several worthy candidates, but personally I feel like the guy that won it is very, very deserving, especially for all that he's been through last year to this year, and that's the senior quarterback Tavares Hill. And you look back at his stats. 38 combined touchdowns and around 3,000 yards combined passing and rushing. There's no other player in this county that was more electric than him. Talk about the season that he had and the impact that he's had on you.
Well, I tell you, he first of all, the year he had is tremendous, and he had a tremendous year on and off the field. He was such an explosive threat for us. We knew every time that he was on the field, we had a chance to go the distance and to score. And he grew and developed so much as a quarterback. We were able to do so many more different things later in the year, the second half of the year. And of course, it was it's a learning process. He was learning my system and my adjustments and my reads and what I was looking for. And once all that came together about mid-year or so, to have him back there where you know at any point in time you can score on a team, and he makes it so difficult to defend you when you've got a couple of receivers like we had out wide, and then the quarterback has the ability to throw it and run it. It just puts so much pressure on you defensively. But it was also a special year because of watching him grow as a person. I mean, he's such a good kid. I just told somebody the other day who was talking about what kind of year he had, and I told him I watched my kid Greer, who was our ball boy, manager, whatever you want to call it. He's so good with him on and off the field and during the games, before the games, when we're at school, and watching how much he interacts with him, and you can kind of tell a lot about a person the way they are with young people. And he's just a great kid, and he had a great year for us, and he was a huge part of why we were able to be successful.
Well, going to the other side of the ball, co-defensive player of the year, along with Luke Cassidy of J.B. Pennington, is a sophomore linebacker, and he don't play like a sophomore. I don't think he plays like a junior. I think he plays like a senior that's been playing forever. And Beau Ragsdale, what a season he had! 152 tackles. I can't remember how many tackles for loss and sacks as well. The impact that he had defensively is very similar to what Tavares on the other side of the ball. Talk about what you saw in Beau Ragsdale this year.
Well, you're exactly right. It's a lot like Tavares on the offensive side because he was such a consistent, steadying force for us, getting our calls made, getting us in the right defense that we're supposed to be. And, we go into each week with as many as 4 or 5 different checks, and he's got a matter of seconds to get us out of this defense into that one, from this coverage into that one. And then to actually just to be such a great defender after the ball is snapped because, he's in on so many tackles and he runs the ball, and he played hurt with his back a lot of the year, just like Tavares played hurt with his ankle the last 6 weeks. And, when you see kids doing that or willing to do that, it just, of course, it's, it not only makes you feel good, it's teaching those young kids what it takes to be successful. So having him in charge of our defense and getting us lined up was huge for our success, especially late in the year when things got a little more complicated and we started seeing different offenses. And so it was a pleasure to have both those guys on each side of the ball.
And instead of me going down the list and just naming these players and you talk about it, I'm just going to run down the list of first-team all-county players, and I'll get your thought on all these guys. But guys, at wide receiver, Brandon Howard, Jaden Kent / Warren. Spent 4 years with a guy, you keep calling him Kent, but Jaden Warren now. Guys like Andrew Aragwin, Ethan Faust, Anthony Gonzalez on the defensive side of the ball, David Hall at linebacker. What a very good group of guys, and a couple of those guys are actually going to be back next year for you. But talk about them winning and being on first team All-County.
Well, and that group you just called out is such a constant in our program week in, week out. You know, guys that we count on every week to be prepared to play, every week to be ready to practice, and to lead this bunch and to teach these kids, these younger bunch, how to do it, what it means to be a football player, especially here at Oneonta. And you know, and I was looking at some of the numbers that were accumulated by some of those guys, and to know what they went through, you know, behind the scenes, with injuries here and injuries there, and it's just it was the big reason we were able to be as successful we were. And like I said, we got probably half of that bunch called out coming back, and that's exciting. And able to, we got a good bunch coming up. We had some 9th and even 10th graders this year who didn't get on as much, but we saw them every day at practice on scout teams, and it's exciting. It's you know, we're always making plans for next year, getting a schedule, getting a calendar ready, and all that kind of stuff. So, but to those seniors who got those honors, it's they deserve it, and I'm glad they were able to enjoy the success their last year.
You mentioned that next year and the guys coming back and those freshmen. There's some talented freshmen coming for sure. Mentioning the off season, what's the plan? As I know you guys are already have dived deep into workouts, but as far as spring, will there be a spring game? As far as practice, how's that all looking?
Yeah, it looks like nothing's set in stone, but it looks like we'll go. The state track meet is the first weekend in May, and we'll start that Monday afterwards and go for 10 days. I was kind of hoping to do that a little different. I was kind of hoping to spread our 10 days out over 15 days, and we still may be able to do that. But right now, it's not looking like that. But we're not going to play a spring game. We'll have an inter squad on that second Friday night, just like we did this past year, and because you know, a lot of times we don't have our baseball players, and our track guys go right up until time. So we feel like that's what's best for us, and that's our plans right now. Well,
Oneonta 10-4, and Phil Phillips is first year as the head coach. Coach, congratulations on a phenomenal season for the Redskins, and I look forward to talking to you next year.
All right, Justin. I appreciate everything you've done for us this year, and I appreciate you having me.
All right, thanks, Coach.